afternoon, everyone. Sorry about that. A few minutes late here. We have another yellow flag. So, yeah. Someone went off and came back on track. No, here's the yellow flag here. So, okay. So officially, Troll is off the track at the hairpin, turn 10. That is what we got the yellow flag for. Thank you, everyone here. Listening to the Race Statistics channel. Yeah, as I came in, Stroll hit the wall. Not a red flag, unfortunately, because Stroll continued on and then got behind the wall safely. Looking at right now, yes, don't troll Stroll. No, no, that's it. It's a crash. No, he hit the wall, bounced off the wall, and then managed to get, but down to turn 10 to the hairpin, and then got behind the wall there. As we've been talking right now, we've got Norris going top of the board, 133.35. Hamilton just went P2, 22,000 behind. Verstappen is P3 right now, 94,000 behind. Russell is 147 behind P4. Gasly is 3,383 thousandths P5. Albon is P6. Sainz is P7. Tsunoda P8. Alonso P9. Colapino P10. That's now replaced by Isaac. He does a 114, 131. Albon top of the board, 131, 135. He is 2 tenths faster than Norris. Alonso going P6. He's 428 behind Albon right now. Russell right now on a flying lap. Albon got fastest first lap, first sector on that flying lap he just did for P1. Here comes Russell. And Nelly P7, 131.693. Hulkenberg up to P14. Russell goes to P1, fastest second and third sector. He has a 112.887, so 2.48 faster than Albon. Damon to P9, Ocon to P11. Step into P3, he's 0.359 behind Russell's time at the moment. Guys saying, thank those of those who are in Twitch chat at the moment. Thank those who are in YouTube, those who are on Twitch or else. Oscar missing the chicane. Just a shot of Oscar missing the chicane and abandoning the lap. Norris missing in the chicane as well. What else have we got? This is, what is it, Oscar. Yeah, another view of Oscar. So welcome to Friday the 13th, everyone. Max is saying the car is jumping like crazy in the rear. It's pretty terrible. But he is P3 right now, and he's 0.359. Gasly's gone P6, 113.8 3:86. He's almost half a second behind Russell's time. Right now, Science is cooking with two cycles already. Here comes the line. He's going to P2. Russell has taken that first sector back already, but it's 113.033. Russell is 146 faster than still than Science last lap. Lonzo going P4, so 113.230. He is 343 thousandths behind Russell's time. Russell right now fastest first and second sector right now, on track for a full purple lap. He's on the back end of this course in the DRS zone. Hamilton is asking his engineers for help. Last sector, he's not sure why his back end just keeps kicking out. And Russell goes faster than he was previously. 0.431 is the gap to Russell's Science. Type is pointing out that I don't think McLarens have made it through the final chicane on the last lap this session. Both have cut the course twice. Max has jumped up to P2 with 112.851. He's 230 thousandths behind Russell. Isaac just jumps to P4. He's on a medium tire, 449 thousandths behind Russell. That's a 113.051. So a very low 113. Russell's the only one in the him and Verstappen are the only one in the 112s right now. I think the Goku's asking if you guys are going to watch F1 or 24th Le Mans 24th side by or both side by side. I think Le Mans will be done before if I've got my time correct. I believe Le Mans will be done before the Canadian Grand Prix will start. Check that. Yeah, so so it'll start several hours before Canadian Grand Prix. It will start tomorrow in the morning, and the Canadian Grand Prix is going to happen in the afternoon. So it's 4 p.m. right now, Central Time. It will start around 9 a.m. tomorrow. So we'll start actually before Free Practice 3. And it'll go on during quali, but by the time we get to Grand Prix, it'll be over. So no, I could, but it the problem with Le Mans it is a 24-hour race. That's the first thing that's going on. And then second, I'm not familiar enough with the classes and the issues that the drivers changed significantly from wet race to wet race. Same thing with IMSA. There's going to be a lot of racers there who are there just for just for Le Mans. Um, yeah, it's if I was more comfortable with WC or IMSA, I might do Le Mans. I'll be honest, the next series that I would commentate for would be IndyCar because that's the one I know the most after F1. Did Lance sprain his wrist? No, he hit the wall, and then was pulled off track. He went behind the wall. Basically, his car was came off track, and his car was pulled behind the wall at the hairpin at turn 10. Can't find team radio at all, and I have TV Pro. Please help. Well, the issue is that the team radios you're seeing here, um, these are transcripts. So they're voice to text transcripts that are being generated by another service. We're using what's called multi-viewer here to look at, the partly with like the radios and some of the timing chart is what we're using. And right now we only got Sonoda, Alonso, and Colapino on track at the moment. So what's going on is that what we're seeing here is another service translating all the radios in real time for us. Alonso just went P4, fastest first sector. It's a 112.882. It's like, I suspect Filipino's going to pit at the end of this lap. Probably Alonso too, now that he's gone around. And then that will basically, teams are going to cycle into a new program. We're under 40 minutes now to go, 39 minutes and 40 seconds to go. You're listening to the Race Statistics channel right now. Again, this is Grash. Thank you who are listening on YouTube. Those who are looking on Twitch. No, Weezer, what you'll get, not with F1 TV, you don't get necessarily, you get the team radios by virtue that you get the onboard cams. See, this is what's going on is that with F1 TV, you get the onboard cam for the car, and with that, you get access to specific team. So if you're listening to, you've got, let's say Hamilton's on track right now. We've got so Alonso did pit. Kyle Pino did not pit. So we've got Albon, Russell, Antonelli, Hamilton now on hot laps. So let's say you went to Hamilton's onboard radio. You would have access to the live radio between Hamilton and his engineer. Or you went to Max's onboard cam. That's where you'd be getting the radios. That's how you'd get them. What they're doing is basically listening to all of the onboard cams, and they're transcribing into text like you're seeing right here. And it's a different service. Casson put the third driver. We'll find out tomorrow, actually. That's the question is that will with the incident with Stroll hitting the wall and having his car stopped, is he in a condition to drive the car? And if he's not, then the situation becomes: is Drogovic here as the reserve driver? And not sure if he's actually here. I thought he was at Le Mans. And I've seen crazier things. I've seen right now Russell's on a new purple lap, fastest sector one, fastest sector two. He's improving in sector three so far. Here he comes to the line. So full purple lap with 112, 123. Oh, I just got a report on Charles. Oh, and we've got who's on the track? That's Copino. Did he? He's he spun out again. He spun again at turn one. Oh my God! Spun out again on turn one. Who's Aston third driver? I'm not sure who it is right now. You would think it's Drogovic, but I don't know if he's here in Canada. That's the question. And is I'm not sure who it is actually at the moment, because I know part of the issue with what's going on is that I know Drogovic and I know the other reserve driver are technically taking part of the Le Mans, the 24-hour of Le Mans. Just showing Colapino spin out again. It is possible to get if they put him on a plane right now. If they put Drogovic on a plane right now, he can be here in Canada overnight. And I've seen that happen. I've seen literally they put oh who is it? Who's the F2 winner? Oh, he's a French F2 champion who didn't get to F1. I'm blanking on his name, but they basically flew him from France directly to middle of the United States um, for IndyCar. Oh man, Theo Pourchaire. There we go. Yeah, so Pourchaire was in Europe. It was in like France, and they flew him overnight to I think somewhere. I think it was mid the Midwest, and he got into an IndyCar and drove. So that's a different scenario. Again, Drogovic is the where is Drogovic? That's a good question. Um, where is he? Yeah, there was a report again, like Drogovic was ready to ditch Le Mans for F1 debut. That was from motorsports.com. So, but I don't know. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting question. As for Charles, he won't be in FP2. Guys have been because of damage. Specifically, the survival cell on the FF25 needs to replace. That's huge. That's huge. No. So here's the thing: is that that's what happened, Goku. That's what happened in Spain. Is that Stroll retired hurt after quali, and because he had take part in qualification, it provided no chance for someone to come into that race seat and take over. Now, if Stroll retires tonight and tomorrow morning someone is able to replace him, that's perfectly. That's where things. That's what should have happened in Spain. Is that if he was actually hurt, then someone should have been able to replace him. In FP3 and for quali. Um, we're saying McLaren have been caught cheating. Interesting because of the flexi wings. No, uh, the flexi wings. That's not the case at all. Because if that was true, they would not have won in Spain. Was flexing a thing last year? They were, but Paolo, well, the issue is that the FIA allowed them. Basically, they took so long to act on them, is that essentially they decided to implement the rules on the flexi wings incrementally over this season to allow teams to use the wings that they had, so they at the start of the season, rather than having to throw them out and have to make new wings. They were going to make them new wings anyway, but they had wings already. I think the Gen 1 wings for this season on the cars. I know he's gone P2, 112, 411, 288th behind his teammate, though he does it on a soft tire. Russell did his last flying lap on a medium tire. Everyone has it. Every wing flexed to a certain extent. The idea, and here's Norris going P3. Doing 112.602. This is a soft tire 0.479. All right, so he is in Le Mans with Cadillac. Okay. Well, Charles continue. Yeah, Charles will be able to come back tomorrow for FP3. Basically, his car is being pulled apart completely at this point, Manos. They have to basically the survival cell, which is the halo portion of the car, that was somehow damaged in a way which needed it to be replaced. That was a lot more damage. I mean, he went right into that wall, so ultimately that makes sense that that was ultimately somehow damaged. Every F1 cheats somehow. I mean, that's basically every team is pushing the limits of regulation, and they're all complaining about what other people are doing. I mean, right now the big one that people are still complaining about are probably the rims on McLaren. And that is, I think, Sonoda not getting a good exit out of the hairpin, and that's been a common issue with several people is that they've had to deal with the hairpin. One of the Alpines goes a little bit wide. Is it the McLaren? They're reacting to the McLaren? Is Gasly reacting to McLaren being slightly wider than he probably should? He's in the middle of the track, but not to the side. But I don't think they're going to call impeding on that. Oh, what happened to Stroll again? A few years ago, basically before preseason testing, Stroll crashed his bike, crashed on a regular cycling bike, and that injured his arm. And the story is right now from Aston Martin is that after Spain quali um, that finally acted up to the point where he had to be. There we go. Colapino, Lawson, impeding noted. I wonder if that's Colapino impeding Lawson because turn 6 incident because he got turned around on track. But moving on, but basically, Stroll crashed, injured his wrist and arm. He would be out for preseason testing, but would come back in Abu Dhabi for the first race that year. Lawson up to P8, 112.751. Albon is a P10. Lawson on a soft tire, Albon on a medium tire. Norris right now, his last lap, he had the fastest first sector, but then abandoned it. Anthony Behrman and Colpino are the only 3 in the pits right now. Obviously, Stroll and Leclerc are not taking further in the session, so we only got 18 of 20 drivers in the session at this point. Honestly, I don't think Leclerc will leave Ferrari. Yeah, so the issue is that there was two major stories in the Italian press broke this morning. And one was basically throwing shade on Vasseur. Both throw shade on Vasseur. The other one, and here we're looking at Alonso doing a lawnmower impression. But one was throwing shade on Vasseur as the leader, and that part of that is that this is his last year as the team boss with Ferrari under his current contract. Doesn't have a new contract. And then the other one is because things haven't gone well with Ferrari, it's throwing shade at Leclerc at possibly leaving. Guys, Leclerc is not going to be taking part of this session, so you guys are making jokes, but he's not taking part in this session. His car is literally being rebuilt as we talk right now. We got 24 minutes to go in this session right now. You're listening to the Racing 60 channel. This is Grash with you live coverage of P2. Yeah, so Leclerc crashed at FP1. The car requires basically a total rebuild because the driver cell is being replaced. Stroll is out of the session because he crashed, I believe, around either somewhere, I think around turn 8. Managed to get to the hairpin around either 7 or 8. He hit the wall. Hit it hard, managed to get the car to turn 10 and got it behind the wall around turn 11. And he's saying he probably should have joined. No, Leclerc came out of Ferrari's driver program. So where would have he gone? He's not going to Red Bull. Albon going P4. Yeah, sector 2, fastest sector 2 time. Losing time in sector 3 on that lap. So that's a 112.445, and he's only 322,000 behind Russell. Norris has split. So while we were talking, Norris did a P2 lap, only 28,000 behind Russell. So he's P2, splitting him, Russell, and Antonelli. Alonso now going to P5, a 112.458, 335 time. So it's interesting. Albon's probably the only one who's been consistent between F1 and F2. I mean, pre-practice 1 and pre-practice 2. Mercedes and McLaren looking strong in pre-practice 2. Alonso looking stronger than he did in pre-practice 1. Williams looking okay, but not as strong. Max, who was P1, is now right now P9. Whether or not they will, whether or not Max goes faster is a good question. Lawson and Isaac are 10th and 11th, respectively, behind Max, and they are so the cars, the teams that were looking strong in FP1 at the top aren't necessarily the ones who are looking the strongest here in FP2. Now's a great time. I don't think anyone is doing a flying lap right now. So right now, now's a great time. If you haven't liked or subscribed, over on YouTube, that's great. If you hit the bell, you'll get notifications. Those are on Twitch. If you join the channel, subscribe to the channel on Twitch. If your notifications set up correctly, you'll get notifications when we go live. Don't know how TikTok works. My apologies for those who are listening on TikTok. Thank you for listening, though, on that platform. We've got 20 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this session right now. I'm waiting for someone to start doing a flying lap again. We only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars on track, 7 with gasoline right now. So it's a few number of cars on track. Well, and this is to be expected at this point in the session. Again, all the cars who are in pit right now are being set up for another program to be run for the team. And here comes Gasly out of doing a pit lane start practice, I should say. Again, right now we only got 18 of 20 drivers. Leclerc was out of the session from the beginning because of a crash in FP1. Stroll hit the wall and then was pulled out. You look at live timing, see if there's any news there to be pulled. Again, no one right now is on a flying lap. Again, Alonso, his last lap was 151. Antonelli did 117. Russell did 116. So these are more laps indicating, particularly Russell and Antonelli, these are laps to indicate that these are not flying laps, but race laps. Bierman did 117. Copino did 118. Alonso, that was an out lap. This is a new lap. Take a look at it. Commentary. So the incident involving Copino and Lawson was reviewed, but no further investigation. So they're going to leave that alone. So F1 basically are showing that the suspension on his car did break. That will be replaced, but for tomorrow. Looking right now, we've got many more people out on track right now. Looks like we've doubled the number of cars that were on track previously. Yeah, he will. Bert, he will be back for FP3 tomorrow. It's just the amount of work that needs to be done to replace what was part of what was destroyed on the car is a significant rebuild of the car. Carl Sainz just went. No, he. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. We've got 16 minutes and 36 seconds left to go in this session. This is free practice two. No one's doing. No one's doing a quali run right now. We've got several people on pit out, but no one's pushing for a quali style lap right now. Got Norris on a pit out. He's going to do a pit lane start before he goes. And then who's behind him? Like one of the kick cars. See that these are all laps. These don't. Yeah, these times that are like over close to 2 minutes or 7 minutes. These don't. Those are out laps, so these don't really reflect what's going on. But if you look at like Science did a 130, that's an out lap. Verstappen did a 118 in his last lap. That's a race lap, not a quality lap. He's on used medium tires. I'm trying to see. Everyone is on mediums, except of the stake teams which have gone to hards for some reason. Yeah, they're on. That's interesting that the stake team has gone to a set of hard tires. While we wait right now for again, we look at cars going around. Uh, we do have a Discord channel. One of the things that you can do if you join our Discord channel, we have a prediction channel, a channel for predictions on our server. Right now, that is still open. That it will be open till tomorrow. I think until Wally, I believe. So you've got about 24 hours or so to get in on predictions for the Canadian Grand Prix. Um, don't know if there's any prizes or whatnot. So I think it's for bragging rights. So still part of our community right now. So right now, most of the teams they've put their the only one not on track right now is Alonso, still in the pits. Um, all the other teams have opted to put their cars out on medium tires, with the exception of the stake team, which will put out on the hards. And they're doing about 118, 116. The fastest would be a 116 by Norris. But we're doing 117s, 18s, and 19 laps. So these are race laps simulation as opposed to a quali lap simulation. Any big driver changes we think for 2026? The two obviously in there is not driver is who would take the seats at Cadillac. And right now, one of the scopes of thoughts is that they're not going to go with a new American driver, so they're not going to look at Herta. And Lando, is that Lando? I think who's no, that's Oscar. That's Oscar going through the pits. I think he's doing all right. He went through the pits for a pit lane practice start. Um, So the current thought on what Cadillac's going to do is that they're going to go with two established F1 drivers, regardless if they are American or not. Cadillac back Perez. No, he's actually in the running for Cadillac at the moment. That's one of the things. I know he's talked with another team though, so it's still a little early for Cadillac. For the Cadillac decisions to be made. They've got time, lots and lots of time. I mean, we're still looking at. I mean, it's June again, June 13th. We're not even into the summer break. We've still got things as is Russell actually staying at Mercedes? Oscar, not no. Oscar just did a pit lane start. He went through the pits for a pit lane start in us. Now, yeah, Drogovic was at Le Mans yesterday. If Drogovic will fly to Canada, what will happen to the 31? The 31? I believe that's the Le Mans car. I don't know what would happen to the Le Mans car. So everyone is on track at this point who can be, again, the only two who are not are Stroll and Leclerc due to incidents earlier today. Stroll earlier this session, Leclerc in FP1. So that's a disastrous scenario. Pointing out that Mick Schumacher also not looking bad at Le Mans. It's hard not to look bad at Le Mans. That's the problem. It's hard not to look bad at Le Mans. You can be there and be mid, and it's still okay. Um, the issue with Le Mans is that you are one of three drivers in that car, and so even if you are average, average is what you need for a third of that race. You need someone who can be okay and not crash the car. And in this case, Mick is actually pretty good in that Le Mans car. And watching F1 Academy, I was watching F1 Academy earlier this morning. I know there's the Netflix series as well, and that's actually very good. That's actually a hit over here in the United States. Why is Alonso on the softs? I don't know what to tell you. Why he's on USofts as well. It's the same reason why is Bortolo and Hulkenberg on hards. All I'm saying is, do you think we'll get a female F1 driver? It's more yes, we. It's more will we get a female? We've had female drivers in F1. It's just will we get a female driver again in F1? And that's the case. Yes, it will eventually will happen. It's just a matter of time to get someone through the F2 F3 system. And that's the purpose of F1 Academy is to help generate new talent that could eventually get to F1. look right now. I would think Alonso would be the one who would could push, but he's not pushing. His last lap was a 117.573. He did a 117.247, so only a quarter of a second faster than his previous lap. Again, we are about 6 minutes left to go in this session. I'm not going to think anyone's going to do a push lap that's going to change the order of the board at this point. I think they're all doing some sort of race run at this moment. There's never been a bar to females in F1. That is true and not true at the same time. There has been no technical rule that bars females. It's more of a cultural issue that has barred females from getting up to the pinnacle of motorsports. And don't get me wrong, this is an issue also in IndyCar, though IndyCar is more open. So while we don't have anyone right now currently driving in the series, the IndyCar series, again, this year we didn't have any female drivers in the Indianapolis 500, but it is on a regular basis, we'll get a female driver in the Indianapolis 500, sometimes two. No, it's not a biological thing. No, Dr. Jackson, it's not a biological thing. It's a cultural thing. Females are just not afforded the same opportunities that males are. It's not biological. Because if it was biological, then how do you explain Dana Patrick, who won races? Shane Jesse Hawkins can't get a race in Aston. I mean, we're talking the same thing about Drovic can't get a race in Aston as well. That's more, again, that's cultural, not biological. Looking right now. Looking at what you guys at the moment. Ones who try saying the big issues on parts on handling the F1 cars compared to F2, F3. But that's you hear that from all the F2, F3 drivers. You hear that from all the rookies. I don't know why. Yeah, you're gonna ask chat to move on from this topic because you guys are going down a rabbit hole that's going nowhere. Right now, we got 2 minutes left to go in this session. Right now, we're listening to Race Statistics channel. Right now, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on other platforms as well. Thank you for where you're listening. Right now, no one is doing a push lap right now. They're all doing race runs. When this session comes to the end, and again, it's going to come to the end pretty quickly. You only got 90 seconds left. Basically, you'll be taken to FP3 here on YouTube. Those on Twitch, again, just come back. We'll just come live. Right now is a great time to hit the subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube. Those of you subscribe on Twitch, if you got your settings set up correctly for notifications, you'll get that as well. Yeah, the F1 Academy cars are more akin to F4 cars. In fact, they're technically an F4. They are technically in an F4 level feeder series, and so the drivers out of the F1 Academy go to F3. And that may be one of the issues with the F1 Academy program right now, is that they're really an F4 series instead of maybe an F3 series. They probably need to be at a higher level to produce them up to F2. I would have preferred them um, graduating their drivers into F2 potentially, as opposed to the F4 regional and F4. No, no, that's not true. Yeah. All right, time has come. The checkered flag is now waving for FP2 is now over. Again, this has been the Race 62 channel. This has been Crash. Again, the big story is Leclerc did not come out for FP2 as his car was being completely rebuilt as the survival cell, the halo portion and the other pieces. Basically, he tubbed his car in FP1. Is being rebuilt, and then Leclerc basically hit the wall, broke his suspension, but managed to get it behind the wall, turn 10, 11. After that, the story is basically teams that did well in FP1, such as particularly the racing bulls, Verstappen, even to Tsunoda, did not do as well. Where we've got McLaren and Mercedes at the top of the board. Albon's the only driver from the previous session who's been in the top five. Sainz did it to top seven, and Alonso did improve from it. He was, I believe, like eighth or ninth, and he's now fifth. So. Tub, yes, that's what the survival cell is. Basically, it's referred to as a tub. F1 kind of should directly into F2 and F3. That's nuts. No, not necessarily. I mean, you want these female talents to get into F1. You need to feed somewhere. Feeding into the regional F3 series, F4 series, F3 series, not 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 the best way to go here. Anyways, this topic we're going to leave for another time because we're going to bring the stream to a close right now. Take care, everyone. We will see you tomorrow for FP3. This is Grash, and we're out.